My 27 female, husband, 27 male, betrayed me with his daughter's biological mom. So to establish the scene, here's some backstory. My spouse and I were going through a difficult time in early 2020, January-March. We couldn't even look at each other without one of us starting a quarrel, so we spent much of our time in the same home but doing our own thing. Our relationship progressed swiftly from the start, and we had crammed a lot of life into our 2.5 years together at that time. 2 houses, a wedding, a baby, 5 animals, many job changes for husband. We didn't have a good foundation of communication to fall back on, and that's when it all came to a head. We don't have many same hobbies or worldviews, but we've always had the same aspirations and beliefs about how we want our lives to be. We also had a strong desire to have children, which spurred our 8-month engagement and resulted in my falling pregnant around 3 months before our wedding, September 2018. Anyway, let's go back to our predicament. I had mentioned marital therapy a few times to measure his interest in learning a better way of connecting with his wife. Every time he shrugged me off, saying that everything was good, that our relationship was fine, that we were happy, that marital therapy was just for couples who were otherwise going to divorce, and so on. I disagreed with him but did not press him. Of course, everything had been shut down in March since it was the start of COVID. Everyone was terrified and unsure, particularly those in the medical field. At my current role as an OB/RN in a hospital, I work closely with anesthesia. I contacted one of my male CRNA buddies and just said, "Hey, how are you holding up with all this COVID stuff?" Everyone up here in OB is terrified and reeling from all of the abrupt changes to everything. "Hey, it's been a while, but yes, I'm okay," he said. "COVID has infected a number of patients in anesthesia, but they are all healing. Thank you for contacting me and thinking about me." I said fine. He complimented my kid on his cuteness. I replied thank you, and that was the end of it. I never attempted to conceal this communication from my husband, never erased the text thread, never hesitated since it wasn't incorrect and I didn't have anything to hide. That would be around mid to late March of 2020. A few nights later, my spouse jolted me awake by saying, "Who is this person you're talking to?" It took me a moment to realize he had gone through my phone and located the text thread between me and my buddy. Before I could finish my statement to respond to his inquiry, he cut me off by stating, "I knew it, you're exactly like Brooke, his ex-fiancée and biological mother of his then 6-year-old son. I can't believe you'd cheat on me as well, you're so similar to her." That reply was a smack in the face after all the drama I'd put up with as a result of her being so high conflict. I informed him that if it had occurred in person, I would have preferred to have the talk with a friend while my husband stood right next to me, and that he should never compare me to his ex again. Of course, we were both unhappy, and it was the middle of the night, so I persuaded him to return to bed and relax. The next day, we both looked into marital therapy alternatives, which were rather limited by COVID. He found a program via his work insurance that provided your first 5 sessions free of charge, and we decided that we ought to take advantage of it. We scheduled our first appointment for the next week and attended the 5 sessions, April-early May, and I saw a difference in our connection and communication. I contacted him and asked how he felt about continuing therapy, which I thought was beneficial. He acknowledged that it had helped, but he didn't want to pay for future sessions, especially since we were doing better after the free ones. My parents had volunteered to pay for part of the expense of therapy if we choose to continue since they saw the value. I told my husband about it, and he said he appreciated it but didn't want to owe them anything. "Okay," I replied, "we'll see how things go and revisit the subject if required." It was also about this time, early May, that I discovered I was pregnant for the second time. To be honest, the timing might have been better, but we were both thrilled at the prospect of having another child. Throughout the first trimester of my pregnancy, everything were going well for us. We were probably in the greatest position we'd ever been. Now, at the start of my pregnancy, my husband had filed a child support review at the request of his new case manager, who informed him he was paying an outrageous amount for one kid. He filed the review in June, and the courts took weeks to complete everything. Bio Mom then appealed the court's ruling, which took another several weeks to process. In the end, late August, her appeal was dismissed and his monthly support payment was reduced by over $300. She was plainly enraged and seeking vengeance on my husband, since that's the kind of person she is. She was too savvy to attempt to deny my husband visitation since she had previously been held in contempt of court for doing so when my husband and I first began dating. She had the means to carry it out and was only biding her time. On a Friday night in September, at 6 p.m., I was preparing supper for all of us before getting ready for my weekend of working. He entered the kitchen, made small conversation, twirled me around so he was holding me, and then said, "Babe, I have to tell you something." Immediately, the hairs on the back of my neck sprang up. My stomach knew what was about to happen even if my head didn't. "What is it?" I inquire. H is for husband. "What did you do?" I asked. "I sent a video to Brooke," H says. "What type of video?" I inquire. "A video of me jerking off," H says. I knew it was terrible, and I was so embarrassed with myself after sending it. "Please accept my heartfelt apologies." I instantly distanced myself from him and turned my back on him. It's as though my whole universe has come to a halt. I wanted to turn around and smack him, but I couldn't since I couldn't move. I questioned him why he didn't inform me during our marital therapy or at any time before to that, and he claimed we'd gotten so much better since then, and he didn't want anything to happen to our unborn daughter or the pregnancy. I told him that all of our progress had been based on falsehoods and that it now meant nothing. Then I asked him why he decided to betray me with the one person I'm uneasy about, the one person I can't order him to stop communicating with since they have a kid together, and his response may haunt me for the rest of my life. "Because I was so wounded that you would do that before I knew who this person was that you texted. I just wanted to harm you as much as you hurt me, and I knew she'd be the one to do you the greatest harm." This is when Bio Mom's vengeance comes into play. She was threatening to inform me about what he did in order to coerce him into paying her extra child support money under the table. When I asked him whether he would have told me what he did if she hadn't threatened to reveal him, he answered, "Honestly, probably not, since it didn't mean anything and there's no need to screw up how fantastic we were doing." Since that night, nothing has been the same between us. I looked through his messages with her and saw the discussion and video, and that's all I see when I look at him. I told him I don't trust him, and it's up to him to make an effort to make me feel at ease in this relationship. He doesn't want to do couples or individual therapy, and he doesn't tell me when she messages or calls him, or what the talks are about. In my mind, we're living as roommates who happen to have 2 children. I'm not sure how much of a relationship is worth attempting to salvage. I suppose I simply wanted to get some feedback from others who have been misled by someone who professed to love them, and see what you would do in this nightmarish scenario. Now look at some comments. "Thank you very much. Since D-Day, it's been a trying year. Part of me can't believe I've been in such a miserable circumstance for so long. But another part of me knows it's because I've been doing all I can to convince him that me and our children are worth working hard for. But he's not going to go out of his way to make it work. He blames me for being sad and doesn't understand why I'm still not over it. So I've given up hope and am ready to dig myself out of the hole I've made. He may have just screwed himself into paying a lot more child support in the near future. In my perspective, there is nothing to be saved here. You've told him what he has to do to even try to make things work, and he refuses to do it. Things gives me the impression that he doesn't want to make it work. Relationships may be challenging under normal conditions, but both parties seek to improve them. You've done nothing wrong. He's the one who fouled things up, but he's unwilling to put in the work. I'm likewise not convinced by his tale. He went from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds. If what he claims is accurate, he is envious, vengeful, and emotionally abusive. He informed you that he intended to harm you in the most heinous manner he could think of. He certainly did. Over not. I apologize.